blueberry. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Moon Days with Michael. I'm your host, the Royal Tango Michael, and I am cutting out the esoteric middleman and giving you the tools you need to connect yourself right to the source. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about the North Star, kind of, Polaris. We're just going to give you the astrological breakdown.
I look at the stars.
And a brief little overview of what being on Polaris actually looks like. So, without any further ado, the North Star, Polaris. So, like I just said, currently, as of this time, Polaris is the North Star, right? Now, it never truly reaches the true north position like Thuban. Thuban is around 0.2 degrees from actually being the true north of the Earth. However, Polaris is about half a degree away from actually being the true north of the Earth. It is currently the North Star. However, it'll change in a couple thousand years, and that'll be the new North Star, which is, typical. It cycles, rotations, axle, tipping. So just like any star breakdown we do, we're going to be going over the star's placement, its influences, its orb, its nature, giving you the understanding of what it means to have this in your chart. So without any further ado, Polaris can be found in 28, 34-ish degrees of Gemini at this time. Like I just said, it is the North Star, so good luck trying to see this from the southern hemisphere. Now, this star also has the orb of 2 degrees, 10 minutes. Bam. And it has the natures of Saturn, Venus, and a little bit of the Sun, which we'll talk about in a moment. Polaris translates to the pole star. However, in modern times, people or other astrologists and cultures and civilizations have referred to Polaris as the most important star, or the king of the heaven, even though they, weren't around to actually see the fact that the North Star position changes every couple thousand years or so. So, is it really the most important star? I would go more towards in the Arcturus direction, or some other fixed star. However, Polaris is very important, and these starseeds are very unique in a way. So before we actually hop into its influences, let's give you guys a brief little glimpse of what it would be like to be on Polaris. So, even though Arcturus is a star resonating in the 6th, cusping into the 7th dimension, and its people are in a higher form, 4th and 5th dimensional bodies, basically they still look very humanoid. They have typically long blonde or white hair, and their skin is usually changing colors, right, depending on the way the sun hits it. It can be red, it can be blue, yellow, green, maybe even a little gray. It all depends on which way the sun is angling them at the moment. And like I mentioned in the beginning, blueberry. They have blueberry apples for some reason. Apples that taste like blueberries. They look like apples, but when you bite into it, it's pink and it tastes like blueberries. Which, hey, I'm a fan of. Our Tango Michael, blueberries, all day, every day. I'm just saying, just putting it out there. Thank you, Polaris, for doing that. We get along very nicely. Now, Polaris is very Earth-like in a way, very lush, very green, has a lot of water. Its cities are very fancy looking. They look like they're constructed out of diamonds, even though they're not diamonds. And the waters are actually very unique. The waters on Polaris are very reflective. However, if you were to look into the waters of Polaris, what you would actually see is a true reflection of yourself, what your higher vessel looks like, what your higher version looks like, the way that you kind of see yourself, the person you want to be. And even if you don't want to be it, it still shows you who you truly are in a way. And especially at that time if you're actually going to look in those waters. So those waters are very reflective, however, they also reflecting the true expression of yourself.
Water's not wet!
And they love being outside together in a very, communal area, as well as also just being outside, enjoying nature, letting the sun shine on them. It is what they do. It's one of their favorite things. So, with that little glimpse out of the way, let's talk about this star's influences. With Polaris being a North Star, obviously it has a lot to do with travel, especially when it comes to sea voyages. Polaris also had a lot to do with slavery. The sun actually conjuncts Polaris on June 19th, which, in America, they started celebrating Juneteenth. Now, I'm not saying that African Americans or black people have a specific connection to Polaris. However, Polaris was the guiding light that actually helped guide slaves or freed slaves into the north, into freedom. So it is very guiding, very comforting, very supporting, and is always showing you the pathway to a better space for yourself. Which, if we talked about just the waters on Polaris actually showing you the truest version of yourself, this makes sense, right? It is a guiding light in a way. Sometimes it'll show you things about yourself that you didn't even know, or show you the path that you need to follow. This star's influences will lead people to be very charismatic, very trusting, very loyal, and they always seem to have a lot of attention garnered towards them, right? This is very common for a lot of the North Stars. This influence is very relatable, okay? So it has the influence of the sun, which we kind of talked about, the light, the expression, and the attention, but it's also very relatable. Now, we also talked about the Saturn influence, right, which most North Stars have because of the guiding light, the reality, the way that they are are showing you the path to follow, right? Now, Polaris also has the little Venus aspect, because this is actually very relatable. This energy loves to talk, it loves to relate, it loves to be in group situations. This energy is very supportive with its friends and its people that it surrounds itself with. And this energy can also be very instinctual. They don't typically have to think too much about something. Usually they can kind of just go off their gut feeling, and they're typically right. Now, the other thing to keep in mind here is that this energy can be kind of negative in a way, just like everything. There's a positive and a negative. And the negative in this case is that its loyalty, the way it relates, the people it surrounds itself with, can be kind of blind, right? They kind of may let things go unseen. They might not notice certain things about certain people, certain red flags, and they might stumble into a situation and kind of roll with it rather than actually trying to get out of it. They may hang around the wrong people, and it's not that they are unaware of the fact that these people are doing these things. It's just that sometimes their loyalty can outshine the awareness that they have. So that is a negative, is that this can often lead to their downfall, is when they start hanging around the wrong people, they're misplacing their loyalty, and they especially start focusing on other people rather than themselves.
Stop.
So when it actually comes to talking about their fortune, unfortunately Polaris typically tends to resonate more on the unfortunate side, mostly just due to the fact that a lot of people get caught up in the blindness that its loyalty will bring, and they kind of neglect themselves in the end and start focusing on other people. Just because they love to relate so much, they love to be in a light and fun and constantly moving situation and environment. However, this can often lead to them neglecting themselves and the things that they truly desire. So if you watch out for that and are able to balance it and actually focus on the things you want, this star can actually be very fortunate for you. So let's recap. Polaris, the current North Star, can be found in 2834 degrees of Gemini with an orb of 2. It has the nature of Saturn, Venus, and a little bit of the Sun. And when it comes to its fortune, it typically favors on the unfortunate side. However, you can get around this if you balance yourself out and you understand and you have a very high self-awareness of where your loyalties actually lie. Now, the actual planet Polaris, the star system, is very light, very loving, very fun, very enjoyable. They like to be outside all the time. The sunlight there is very pure and more refined than our sunlight. And like I said about the waters, that the waters of Polaris will often show you the truest expression that you may not even be aware of yourself. So, with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, check out our Instagram for the daily alignments, breaking down every day's energy every day on the daily. And if you'd like to request a reading, email us down below, readings@solarsystems.org. And until next time, fly high, y'all.